make a relish recipe today that I found a few years ago. And it's quite easy because it's done in the microwave rather than the one I had from my grandmother and my mother, which takes quite a long time in a great big pot. So this one is a little easier. So anyway, this is what we have to put in it. It's actually called a microwave zucchini relish, but I kind of half and half it with the cucumbers because zucchini, especially this time of the year, can be a little bit expensive. However, we got them on sale the other day. So I have a few zucchini and some English cucumbers, which, hey, they were cheap this week. So otherwise, the regular cucumbers, you have to take all the seeds and everything out of it. So these hopefully work better. Celery, red peppers, or if you want yellow peppers or green peppers, it doesn't really matter. Onions, we need sugar, flour, some coarse salt, and mustard seeds, celery seeds, turmeric, and dry mustard. I think that's, oh, the vinegar, of course. So it takes, the preparation is the biggest part. That takes quite a while. So the cooking time isn't as long. So we'll just get started. You have to wash all these vegetables first and then chop them up. I use a food processor if you have one. Otherwise, it just takes longer by hand. So we'll get started. Okay, vegetables are all washed. So we're going to start with the zucchini. And I use rubber gloves because if I don't, sometimes the zucchini can make my hands kind of peel. So if your hands are sensitive like that, I'd suggest rubber gloves. And because these zucchini are kind of, the skin isn't that great on part of them, I'm just going to peel them. Doesn't matter. You can leave the peels on if you want. Okay, so I'm going to cut them in about thirds because that's about what my food processor will handle. Okay, and then we're going to put them in the food processor. So when I opened up these English cucumbers, they had more seeds than I thought. So you can just take, like, I use like a little grapefruit spoon and just scoop out the seeds from the middle.
Like this.
Yeah, so it's just you don't want those in your relish, that's all. And then just slice them. So my food processor, I have a couple of these kind of blades. One of them is a 6mm and the other one is a 4mm. So usually for the cucumber or zucchini, I will use, I usually use the 6 blade. So then you put this, you're just going to bunch these up together and try to wedge in. It's a little bit tricky because sometimes if you don't do enough at once, they will fall right through to the bottom, which you don't want. Just kind of keep poking them in. That's probably good. And then you're going to just pulse it. You don't need to, no, you don't, well, yeah, I guess you do need that. Oh, come to think of it. All right. Just like that. And just keep doing that with the cucumbers and with the zucchini. And I just put them in a bowl. All right, so you're just going to do the same thing with all the zucchini. This recipe, which will give you the recipe later, it calls for 4 cups of zucchini, but I'm probably going to have enough to triple the recipe, but we'll see here in a few minutes. So I'm going to measure out, because I'm combining zucchini and cucumber, which you don't need to do. You can just do zucchini. I'm going to measure out 4 cups, so maybe 3 of the zucchini and 1 of the cucumber, and we'll see how far that goes. Okay. Cucumber, and then we'll just put that in a bowl. Or, yeah, let's use that. Use that, and you need to have a different container for every batch if you're making more than one. Alright, that makes enough for 1. This batch, if you just make 1, it might make 2 to 3 mason jars. If there's always a few pieces that come out that you need to cut by hand, because sometimes they don't come out all that well in here. So this one's about 1 and a little bit cup short, so I'm going to cut up some more, just maybe 1 more zucchini or cucumber and add it to that. Okay, now for the peppers, I find that to do them in the food processor is a little tricky because, of course, they're curved on the ends. So I'm going to try just cutting off the ends, which have to be done by hand. Yeah, you don't really want any seeds or this kind of wimpy stuff here. So make sure you get all the seeds out. So the recipe calls for half a cup each of red pepper and green pepper. Well, I'm going to add yellow instead of the green. It's totally your own preference. And then just chop them up like so. Total of 1 cup of peppers. So we'll see how much this makes up as to whether we have to cut up any more. I'm making 3 recipes. Okay, so I'm going to change the blade for this one and use the 4mm, just so that they're a little smaller. They're more of really an accent color, so I don't like them as big as the other ones. So I'm going to divide. I'm going to divide these because evenly. I don't want to mix it in with the red, and it's too hard to divide it between the 3 batches. But James is going to help cut up some of these. Okay, the recipe does not call for celery, but I like to put a little bit in for crunch, so you might have to just adjust the amount of liquid or something, but it doesn't make that much of a difference. I don't put a whole lot in, so, and I think I can probably do that in the food processor. So I'm just going to put 1 per batch in, so like 1 stalk per batch. Okay, so we've got all the vegetables chopped up, so we're just going to mix them up a little bit. I've already done the other 2 batches. Then you're going to take 1 tablespoon of coarse salt and just sprinkle it over it. It's like pickling salt, and then just mix it up good. You have to leave that for an hour, and I usually about every 20 minutes, or 15-20 minutes, stir it up, and then just leave it an hour. Alright, time to wash dishes. Okay, while you're waiting for the vegetables to be finished sitting in the salt, you can mix up the spice and vinegar mixture. So, okay, you need 1 cup of sugar. If you have a container, something like this, that's good for shaking things in, that would be great with a lid on it. So, take 1 cup of sugar, and this is per batch, okay, so I'm just making up enough for 1 batch. 1 cup of sugar, 3 tablespoons of flour, white flour, tablespoon of dry mustard, 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric, and 1/2 teaspoon of celery seeds, 1/2 teaspoon of mustard seeds, and our dishwasher is going, so that's some extra noise. Okay, so those are all the dry ingredients. Then you add 1/3 cup of water and 1 cup of vinegar. I don't know if I can pour this. It's spilling. And then you just shake it up real good. Okay. Whew. And then you just set it aside. If you're making more than 1 batch, you could just put it into another container. Okay, the other thing you need to do while you're waiting for the vegetables to be done, it's really handy if you have a little funnel like this. This is especially for pickling. And then you need your lids, or the screw top lids, and these ones. And these ones should be changed every time. You shouldn't reuse these, or it could be that the adhesive won't work well, or they might just be contaminated in some way. So you're going to put those in some water and let them boil for about 15 minutes, and then you can turn them back just to keep them hot. You want to just keep them on simmer. So I'm just going to put it on high for now. And then also your bottles, you could just wash them by hand or in the dishwasher, and then I always put them in the oven on about 275 to 300 degrees for at least 15 minutes, I'd say. And then you can just keep them in the warm oven until you're ready for them. So these can be drained now. It's been an hour. And drain them a bit and rinse them with cold water. And just push as much of the water out as we can. Okay, so I have a 8-cup Pyrex dish, which I can put right in the microwave, so that's what I make this in. And of course, it'll only take 1 batch at a time. Oops, still gonna. You just put all the veggies in. Spices and vinegar and stuff. And just pour that in. Mix it up a little bit, and it's ready to microwave. So, you microwave this for 18 minutes total, but what I do is microwave it on high for 6 minutes, take it out and stir it, put it back in for 6 minutes, and then repeat that another times for a total of 18 minutes. Okay, 6 minutes. Okay, so 18 minutes later.
Okay, 18 minutes.
So, what I did is, like I said, at the 6-minute mark, I took it out and stirred it, so that this is the 3rd time now. Get the other mitt, please.
Here.
Okay, so the bottles have been sterilizing in the oven. So I'm just going to take out 3 or 4. Okay, so I don't need them all right now, but okay. Figure it's going to take at least 3 bottles, if not 4, for one batch. Let's see how far it goes. Just take your little funnel, put it in one of there, and take this. And you're going to fill them up to about a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch from the top. You don't want them too full, and yet you don't want them too... Just a little bit more. There. Oh, it smells so good. That's gonna make just about 3 bottles. Maybe it might be a tiny bit short. I usually keep 1 bottle out for the extras. You can always put it in the fridge and not can it. So I didn't make quite 3. That's all right. Now, what I'm gonna do is take the lid, which had been boiling, sterilizing, and just set that on there. And you only screw them tight. Can I have an oven mitt, please? You don't need to screw them really tight. Whew. Just finger tight, just like that. Put them on a board. And like that. Now, once they cool down, you should hear the little, don't poke them, but you should hear after a while a little a popping noise. And if the lid has popped down, that means it's airtight, it's good. Any that after you get them all done, if any of them don't do that after they're totally cooled down, then you need to just put them in the fridge and use them up within a month or 2. Otherwise, they're good to go for a year or 2.